Okay, I'm going to run through this with the HDR Darkroom. This menu system may be a little bit different from the HDR Darkroom Pro that you have, but I think it's going to work pretty much the same. So if you'll just follow along with me, this goes very fast. I'm going up here to File, and I'm going to start with Create HDR. And then it pops up this menu box. You may not be able to see it because I'm not sure this is exposing too well, but under exposure it says EXIF, and you want to keep that bullet checked. And under alignment it says alignment, and you want to keep that checked. This automatically reads the EXIF data that's contained in each picture and tells the program what the exposure was. It also aligns your pictures. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want them automatically aligned. Okay, next we're coming down to Add Images. I'm going to click on Add Images, and it's going to open up a box where I've got all of your pictures stored. So I'm going to choose the first one, and I can add these individually, or I can hold down the Control key and add them all at one time. On the Apple, I believe you hold down the Command key while you click. So I've clicked on this one, holding down the Command key, click another one, and then click another one. Those are the three pictures you sent me. One's normally exposed, one's overexposed, one's underexposed. So I'm going down here to Open. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but these three pictures are all added down here in this box. 9, 10, and 11. And then I click OK. When I click OK, it's going to make the HDR picture. Now, this is exactly the picture you sent me, and you asked if it was an HDR image. Technically it is, but it isn't really very interesting because it's a little bit washed out. And we need to do one other thing to it, and that's tone mapping. So if we come up here to the left side, we have a row of icons, and this third one down is the tone mapping icon. When I click on this, it's going to tone map it and give us our real HDR image. This was where you stopped on the picture you sent me, I think. So let's tone map this. Okay, now that's the HDR image that you're probably looking for. Notice how the sky is much bluer and the greens are much more intense, and your doorway, instead of being lost in the shadows, you can actually see that cut glass that you've got in your doorway. Over here, you've got several tone mapping engines. I usually leave it on Local Tone Balancer because it's the most automatic. Down below that, you've got things like strength, local lighting, brightness, and saturation. If you think this is oversaturated, and it may be, you can turn down the saturation. Now that's almost too washed out, but notice it still leaves the doorway lighted. So it's a matter of taste. You can really overdo it with HDR images. You can also mess around with the local tone enhancer or the fast tone compressor. If you use those, then you need to go down here and bump the saturation up a little bit. But basically I'd leave it, at least I leave it usually on Local Tone Balancer. Okay, that's pretty much what we want. So I click OK, and it gives us the tone mapped image. Then you have to go up and save it, and we'll click Save As and put it back in the folder. And I'm going to add something to this so it won't overwrite the one I've already got. So I call that A. Okay, now it's possible just to close this out, and that's the process for making an HDR image with the HDR Darkroom. Let me know if you've got any questions.